Hi guys! So I saw this post on Tumblr, and it was against the anti-bullying campaign. Yeah. And it said, I thank my bullies because without them, I wouldn't be who I am. Okay, go ahead and thank them. But here's the truth. You are a personality, or have a personality, and you were thrown into a situation which then developed your personality a little bit further. That didn't mean that you weren't that person already. It just made it more prevalent. It made it manifest. Okay, now, I'm going to share my story. Who knows, maybe it can help someone, maybe it can't. I was homeschooled from kindergarten all the way to the point where I graduated. And there were a couple different homeschool groups I was in. Two I will mention, Life and Heart. In Life, and this is, I'll explain in a few minutes. But Life was set up sort of like an after-school activity. Met twice a week, and there was gym, and then whatever classes you wanted to take. You'd get to take two classes. I took economy in one. I took sign language. This was over several years, period, though. Sign language, beading. There was a yearbook that you got to make. There were several things like this, and they'd switch the classes up. I wanted to take automotive, but that was when I was hitting puberty, and all the guys were hitting puberty, so all the guys were taking automotive, so they didn't let me take automotive. But they'd promised to do it, and then the group fell apart. Complete crap. But oh well. So, they had that, and then there was Life. Not Life, Heart. Heart was the first homeschool group I was in. Now, the reason we have homeschool groups as homeschoolers is we're always constantly asked, don't you get enough socialization? I am not a pet. I do not need to be socialized. I can make friends just fine, thank you. I'm sorry, but you can only be asked that question so many times before you start getting sarcastic or defensive. So, and in response, homeschoolers came up with homeschool groups. It's one where you can meet people of your own age and make friends. A little bit easier. That's the theory behind it. Practice sometimes is not so good. Like in Heart. We went into Heart, I think when I was in kindergarten, first grade, so I was either 6 or 7. And I made friends with this one lady's daughter. Her name was Joy. Well, at the time I was very prideful. I could pick up 300 pounds for a few seconds. It wasn't like a long time, but I was prideful of my strength. I mean, a 6, 7-year-old picking that much up, that's a lot. But, so I'd pick up my friends when I hugged them, all the time. It was part of being my friend, you just kind of dealt with it. Some people didn't like it, some people did. Joy didn't like it, and she told me to stop a couple times. Well, I didn't get it. I was young and stupid. And when I finally did get it, she had decided she hated my guts. And I was going to pay. Big time. So, of course, I tried to go up and apologize. Like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that you really didn't like it. Thought you were teasing. I will never do it again. She decided to not forgive me at all. So, she ignored me for the rest of the year, which was 2 months. And then we went into summer. Now, for a homeschooler, homeschool groups are one of the few places you can get socialization. Make friends, all these things. You can make friends at Walmart, not Walmart, but McDonald's, sorry, if you are there all the time, but that's bad for you. Now, I made one of my best friends there, and they were there all the time, I was there all the time. It did work, but it's not something you want to do all the time. So, sorry. To be ostracized in a homeschool group is not an okay thing. Think your entire public school hating your guts. Then you've got it approximately right. You've got no other chance at socialization. You've got no other chance at friends, really, or lasting ones. And so, you have to really not piss off the wrong people, and that's what I did. The next year, now all this while, something very similar was happening at my church, too. One of the mothers had decided she hated my guts because I was homeschooled, so her kids hated my guts because I was homeschooled, and they were in power. I don't love people. So I came back next year, and Joy proceeded to tell everyone, if you're her friend, you're not my friend, and my mom's the leader of the group, and all the people are my friends, making me the social outcast. Isn't that fun? So it's 2nd grade, approximately 9, I experienced my first thoughts of suicide. I would go into homeschool group every other week. And not every other week, that was the once a month group, thank God. Once a friggin' month. And one of them would say something to me, mean, nasty, rude, or I'd try and hang out with them, and they'd just ignore my existence. Now, the ignoring the existence wasn't bad as the mean, nasty, and rude, but it still was pretty bad. So, I would run off, and I would hide in one of the rooms. It was held in a church, and there were several classrooms, the Sunday school rooms, the youth room, all these places that I could hide. I got pretty damn good at hiding, too. And I'd cry, and cry, and cry, and count the reasons why I was staying alive. Really figure out how I would kill myself. Things like that. There were some of those places where people could hear me crying. You think a single effing one of them stepped up? You see, a bully is only as powerful as those who back them. Joy was only as powerful as the group, and her mother. My mom, when it was brought to attention what was going on, or when I brought it to her attention, because I'm one of those quiet people who will just suffer, and my mom didn't know that yet, proceeded to go up to Miss Joy's mother, whose name will not be mentioned. I don't need to give that many details out. And tell her that she needed to basically stop her daughter. Her reaction was that I needed to get used to it. I'm 9 years old, contemplating suicide because these people are seriously treating me like dirt. And nothing's being done about it by the mother. So Mom proceeded to look for another homeschool group because he was not going to have me in that position. But that took a while. Here's where the moral of the story is. There's this girl, Sherry. I don't think she'll mind me giving out her full name, but I won't. And when she came in, I'd hung out with black people before at McDonald's, but I'd never actually hung out with black people before. So I was a bit of a racist, and I didn't know. I was too young to know any different. Well, she came in, and I kind of like shied away from her. I was like this big, huge family of really tan people. Like, I didn't even know the difference. I was that young and that naive. So she came in, and I was just like, okay. And she immediately befriended Joy. And I, of course, shied away from her all the more. Until she decided to start talking to me. Seriously talking to me and defending me. She looked at Joy one time and basically told her she wasn't having any of her shit, though not in so many words. And she actually became my only friend at the time. She stood up for me more times than I can count. I'm sorry, this is my best friend I'm talking about, and the reason I'm alive. What I'm trying to say is you don't know how a small action, just like standing up for someone, or even just befriending them, can affect their lives. Sorry. I really need to say thank you to her in this too, because she doesn't understand how much she did for me. Just by that one small action. Sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm not usually one who cries. But she basically stood up for me, and then when we had to leave the group apart and went to life, she ended up coming over, and she became one of my closest. Okay, not even one of. She is my best friend. God, I miss her. What I'm trying to say is, you don't know what someone's going through. Yes, maybe it's not as bad as that. Maybe it's worse. But that one small act of kindness, that one spark of humanity, spark of compassion, can completely change the course of history. I would have killed myself by the time I was 10 if Surrey hadn't stood up for me. I would have found a way to end my life because I was going through such shit that it wasn't even funny. And sometimes I hope I returned the favor by being friends with her when in her hard times. But I probably never have. And probably never will. Just follow your gut. Be kind. Okay, well, I'm going to get off before I end up bawling. So thank you guys. Bye.